Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko number 145 SN. This is a satin nickel anodized aluminum residential interlocking threshold. This type of threshold is old technology. These thresholds have been around forever, decades. And they, in my opinion, and in the opinion of so many others, still stand alone as the most effective way to seal the bottom of a door. Here's what I mean. First of all, it's a threshold, as you can see. The 145 is representative of this profile, and the SN means satin nickel. It's an anodized finish on aluminum. It is not true satin nickel because that would require plating on solid brass, but this emulates a satin nickel sort of finish. It's a little bit darker, and some people say that's a little bit dark, but the truth of the matter is this is Pemko's satin nickel anodized aluminum. That's what it is. Now, this is an interlocking threshold, and what that means is this system is this threshold is going to include not only the threshold as you see it, but it's going to also include what is called a hook strip, or a J hook. Use your imagination, it looks like the letter J. Now how that works is this hook strip, that gets nailed to the bottom of the door. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Since I have both of these hanging here, let's demonstrate it. Once this is nailed to the bottom of the door and the door is closed, it makes that sort of positive mechanical connection underneath the door. Now that gives you a really secure, complete, proper seal at the bottom of the door. Nothing really gets through at the bottom, you know, for all intents purposes. Okay. More about that hook strip in a moment. Now, what also makes this threshold really tremendous is the weep hole sort of design. Here's what a weep hole is. Well, a weep hole. If you have a weep hole, you allow water typically to drain out, that sort of situation. How it's accomplished on these thresholds is, let's say that this is a in-swing door, that would be most typical. You've got a trough down in here. So any water that were to get inside of here, any water at all, would run through that hole that you can see right there. And on the underside. Then what completes the system is the small notch that's made in the face of the threshold here. Okay? So any water that were to get in would weep through through the trough and then out the face. Okay? The only other thing that could have been added to this threshold would be a forgive me, I'm drawing a blank. The only other thing that could have been added to that would be a water pan, and that's a piece of sheet metal, aluminum, or possibly brass that would be between the sill and the bottom of the threshold, giving you an idea that any water that did get under there would sit on top of that water pan. It's very inexpensive, especially if you are using the aluminum water pan. So inexpensive that you could probably discard it if you decided not to use it. Now, more about that J-hook, or that hook strip. First of all, this is typically nailed directly to the bottom of the door. You could also route or mortise the bottom of the door so that you can have this. Okay, so what some people do is they will mortise this to the bottom of the door, creating a little L profile so that you can actually drop part of the face of the door down below this and even give yourself a tighter margin. Now, nailing it to the bottom of the door is accomplished by the nails that are included. They're like a little Nortwist sort of nail. And then, of course, screws, since we're talking about it, for the threshold. Now, let's get the tape measure. There is an image below this video showing everything important dimensionally about the item, except the hook strip. The hook strip is about 15/16 width. Overall height is about 1/4 inch. If it was me, I would allow about 1/8 of an inch to get this thing installed between the bottom of the door and where your threshold is going to reside, the top of your threshold. Give it about 1/8 of an inch. You've got that bird's mouth sort of idea, concept happening there to get a nice seal, something in that range. Now the threshold itself is 4-inch wide, and the overall height of 7/8 is absolutely in the middle, very standard. Actually, 7/8 is probably the most common height of an interlock that we sell. You can get out to 1 1/8 for sure, and you can get down to 5/8. but 7/8 is really common. Okay. I love this technology. These sorts of thresholds are effective, and they're effective for decades. The only time that you might have some maintenance is that the hook strip might get unintentionally damaged. It can become damaged if someone leaves a shoe in front of the door and you go to open it up. Or you might take the door off to move furniture in or out and it gets damaged in the process. This is a piece of what's called white coat galvanized, just typical material. It's white coat galvanized because it's steel. It would prevent, any sort of surface rust from occurring in a very premature fashion. You can buy those. They're incredibly inexpensive. It would take more effort to just replace it than it is the material itself. So should it become damaged down the road, you can certainly replace that by removing the nails and reinstalling it after cutting it to length. You do have to select that option on select water pan or not. Like I said before, it's inexpensive if you decide to use it or not. Available in several different lengths in the website as well. If you have need for a custom length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces and indicate in the comment field what length you'd like for us to cut the material back to. The reasoning is if you had to take this 48-inch piece and cut it down to, say, 44-inch, you'd eliminate that countersink and the hole for the weep and compromise the notch in the front. The next hole is all the way over here, so you're stuck drilling another hole here, another hole in the trough, possibly filing the face of the threshold again. So if you order a custom length, we'll not only locate that first countersink at the proper distance from the edge, the notch and the weep hole, and the proper center to center as well. I'm a fan of Pemko thresholds for several reasons. Customer service caliber is excellent. Value, utility is superb with the Pemko line. They don't only manufacture residential thresholds, which this certainly would be considered, but commercial as well. A material made of aluminum, stainless steel, architectural bronze. If you have any questions on the Pemko number 145 SN interlocking threshold or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us.